Melanie. I'm really excited to be here with you today. Welcome to our next SheEO Global Activation event. We have women joining us from so many different exciting places so that we can get a little insight into where you are joining from and whether you're an activator, a venture, or a guest. I invite you to edit your name. If you could just click the three dots on the top right of your image and hit rename to add an A for activator, V for venture, or G for guest to your Zoom name, followed by your country, followed by your name. That would be great. So with that, I'm going to open this up to Kathy, who's going to do a land acknowledgement. This is something that we do as our common practice at all of our SheEO events in order to offer an acknowledgement to the land that, that we are on. So Kathy, if you could unmute.
Thank you, Melanie. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Am I coming through? Okay. Welcome everybody to today's Global Activation Call. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to share with you today a land acknowledgement that's very personal to me. Done this a couple of times before and never without getting a little emotional because it goes right to my heart. So let me share that with you now. My land acknowledgement pertains to the lands of Lambton County. That's in southwestern Ontario, and particularly the lands around the town of Petrolia. All of my mother's ancestors who first immigrated to Canada came from England in the 1830s to receive lands granted them by King George IV. And the family narrative was that these ancestors were all pioneers who came for the free land. But we know now, as we knew then, it wasn't free. As it happened, a portion of one land grant was actually still owned by a great uncle of mine at the time of his death, which was actually 1973. This parcel of land was in Lambton County, just outside the town of Petrolia, and it was so named because of local tar pits there. And in the mid-1800s, there was actually an oil boom. My mother ended up executor of this uncle's estate, and so was tasked with selling these lands to distribute the proceeds to his heirs, among whom she was one. In this way, I know that I am a direct beneficiary of colonization in Canada. I wish to acknowledge the tremendous economic advantage this and other land grants provided to many generations of my maternal family, and how this is exemplary of the workings and perpetuation of white privilege, which I personally have participated in and taken advantage of. In the spirit of reconciliation, I wish to acknowledge that these lands were granted to my ancestors. They were the traditional territory of and inhabited by the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and the Delaware, also known as the Anishinaabe and the Lenape nations. This was at the time of written Treaty Number 29, the Huron Tract Purchase of 1827. And I also acknowledge the earlier Indigenous peoples that traveled these lands prior to 1790 in the time of the Wampum Treaties. It is through Indigenous peoples' connections with the spirit of the land, the water, and the air that we recognize their unique culture, traditions, and values. It is their belief, which I share, that they are part of the land that sustains all life, and it is the sacred responsibility of all people to ensure that the environment remains protected. These Indigenous nations agreed through their ancestral language to the mutual sharing of the land, which obligations and responsibilities to the environment extend to us, all people, and all other peoples of the world today to protect. Thank you. Passing it back to Melanie.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That was really beautiful. You're getting some acknowledgement for your land acknowledgement in the chat. So thank you very much for sharing that and for making it so personal. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, once again, welcome. I see that a few new people have joined. Welcome to our global activation event at SheEO. We host these events periodically. The objective of this call is to provide our guests with an introduction and overview of the SheEO community and an opportunity to get involved. These are public calls, excuse me, that occur about once a month, and they're also an opportunity for activators to get to reach out into their broader communities and invite guests, and for people who are new to SheEO to learn about what it is that we do and about our special brand of radical generosity and connection with one another through asks and gives. Our usual weekly activator calls follow a slightly different format, and that's for another conversation. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Melanie Saxena. I am based in New York City. I have been, I believe this is my 4th time activating with SheEO in the US, and it's just been the most fascinating and wonderful and meaningful organization for me to be involved with. I was first smitten by Vicky, whom you will be hearing from in a little bit, and her vision for really finding a way to help women entrepreneurs who are out there to work on the world's to-do list, to really help them find a way to access the finance that they need. I formerly used to work in financial services, specifically on Wall Street. And having been on the other side of the table, on the decision-making side of the table, and seeing how strategies were assessed and people were assessed, and being part of those conversations and living in that frame, I really gravitated towards SheEO to think this is a way that we can shatter so much of what is wrong with how money is doled out. And so that's what SheEO has meant for me, an opportunity to really roll up my sleeves and get involved. Our format for today is that we're going to hear an overview from Vicky herself. We're going to also hear from a venture, then from an activator, and then you'll have the opportunity to participate in a breakout group for an ask give exercise. The ask portion and the give portion have to do with what it is that you need help with, and we encourage you to be courageous, and what it is that you would like to offer. This is your foray into radical generosity. And then we'd like to come back to the main room for some reflections and a close. So before we get involved in that exercise, I want to start off with a one-word check-in using the Mentimeter. I believe Caitlin will be sharing this into the chat, and we'll also share in her screen. Share her screen? Okay, great. So what we invite you to do is to share with us what is that one word that captures your energy that you're bringing to us today. So we're seeing curious, grateful, ready, inspired, excited, lighter, connected, supported, hopeful, willing, peace. Wow, there's so many of these. Enthusiasm, caffeinated, interested, some more openness, present. I need to twist my head in a few different directions. Optimistic. Peaceful, defeated, concerned, intrigued, adventurous, gracious. So many, and learning. I see that in the chat. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for letting us know how it is that you're doing and what energy you're bringing to us. I want to make sure that we've all had a chance. Okay, great. So thank you. And if you've just joined us, if you could please update your Zoom name with an A for activator, a V for venture, or a G for guest preceding your name, and also your country. That would be terrific. And with that, we'll pass it over to Vicky.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Hi, everybody. Really happy to have you here today. Welcome from all over the world. We've got Lebanon and India and people coming from Europe, everywhere. It's amazing. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Vicky. I'm the founder of SheEO. I want to thank Kathy very much for the land acknowledgement. This is something that we do at the beginning of every SheEO call. And one of the reasons we do this is Look at this world we're living in. It is such a mess. Literally everything is broken and needs to be rethought. And we deeply believe at SheEO that Indigenous wisdom is the pathway home. It's going to help us to understand how we can actually live sustainably on this planet. So Indigenous wisdom is woven into everything that we do at SheEO, and we're very much about a diverse set of voices and experiences embodied in all of us so that we can create the kind of transformation that we need. I'm going to take you through a bit of a deck here. Starting point is this. So maybe some of you have heard this. I mean, 5 years ago, no one was really talking about this. Now it's everywhere. But this is one of the main reasons why we do exist, that 2.2% of funding in the world goes to 51% of the population. This is statistically impossible to occur, impossible, without major structural inequities in our systems. And so we know that you can't just go create a women's fund to create the kind of change that you need in the world. You actually have to get at the root level of everything. And so at SheEO, if you go to the bottom of this brand platform slide here, the number one thing we start with, which is super different than everything else, is we believe in abundance. We literally believe there's enough for everybody. We have everything that we need to solve the world's challenges. We need to reorganize ourselves and really question what we value. And the underlying element of SheEO, which Melanie mentioned, is radical generosity. It fuels everything that we do. And we believe that if we organize around this concept of radical generosity, coming into these groups together with what we have in overflow and share it with those who are in need, we will dramatically transform what the world looks like. So we have a completely redesigned model. It is not traditional venture capital in any way. It's not traditional pretty much anything in any way. We've done a lot of rethinking, and if we were starting over, how would you redesign things? So we'll share this deck after so you can have a look at it. But really, we are here to activate ourselves, everything that we've got, in support of transforming our systems. And our first goal together is to create $1 billion perpetual fund with 1 million activators to support women who are working on the world's to-do list, women identifying founders. And these are the 10 ventures that we funded in North America just earlier this year. So how the model works is we have a bunch of different language. So just let it flow over you until it feels normal. But activators are people who contribute capital to be shared into a pooled fund. And then we loan that money out to ventures, entrepreneurs, at 0% interest. And then that money is paid back over 5 years into the fund and loaned out again. Super simple process. We literally treat money like it's a renewable resource. It's not, we don't treat it like it's coal and it's something that's like, has to be extracted and depleted and extracted again. This money is pooled together, 95% payback rate, loaned out again and again and again. And it's only loaned out to women who are working on the world's to-do list. So every venture in our network that applies is working on at least one of these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and coming up with new models and new mindsets to do that. This is a proven model that's been around. We're going into our 6th year now. We have activators all in 5 different countries, lots of countries who have applied to replicate this model, and we've funded 73 ventures so far. If you're a venture in this community, if you apply as a venture, you get not only a 0% interest loan, but coaching, and then this incredible community of women who are activators here, supporting you as experts, as advisors, as customers for your products and services, and using our influence to support you. And if you're an activator in this community, you can be both, by the way. If you're an activator in this community, we have welcome calls and we have all kinds of events online and tools to help us all transform systems. Go through that one. The one thing I want to just really underline here, besides the concept of radical generosity and how we're really showing up differently, is that everything at SheEO is on your own terms. So if you're a very busy person and you love what we're doing, but you can't make it to calls, that is completely fine. There is no guilt here. If you want to get super involved and you fall in love with a venture and you have lots of expertise to help them and you want to dive in, that's totally fine too. You can come in and out. It's completely up to you. There is no right way to be an activator or a venture in this community, and we fund these ventures on their own terms as well. They set their milestones. We don't tell them how to run their businesses. If you reach out to them and they don't get back to you, that's life. They're looking for a good values fit, and sometimes they're busy. So it's very much on your own terms and super organic. And this model has just been working so incredibly well. Inc. just announced its top 100 women entrepreneurs of 2020. 4 of our ventures were in there. 1 of our activators was in there. A couple of our semi-finalists were in there. We were getting a lot of traction globally, a lot of attention on this model. It's just a completely different way of doing things. And we believe that now is the time to be transforming almost everything in our society. So I will turn it back over to Melanie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicki. If any of you are like me, I love to see Vicki's slides. And so just a reminder, as Vicki mentioned, you will all be receiving a copy of the slides afterwards if you'd like to pore over them, review them, and also share them with some of your friends and spark a conversation. So now I'm actually going to turn our conversation over to B. B is the founder of The Linker. And B, if you could unmute yourself.
Awesome. I will, yes, good morning. Oh, hi, everyone. I was part of the second cohort here in Canada with The Linker. I invented The Linker, which is a 3-wheeled walking bike. Some of you might know it already. And I want to talk a little bit about the impact of SheEO, because the first years that I started this company, I was ramming into walls, being a woman doing engineering stuff. Everybody tells you like, oh, too much risk and all that stuff. Like it's hard to get going, and why don't you hire a real engineer? And the moment that I became, first of all, I was in the first year that I applied, I became a semi-finalist, and then didn't make it to the top 5. And the second year I applied again because I was like, why not? And became an activator too. Why not? You're part of the network now. So the difference that SheEO has made is I made barely $50,000 revenue to apply. I was alone, very alone. I was not in a very good way. I was depressed and not like, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And so since I'm with SheEO and I became one of the ventures, we got $3 million in revenue last year. There's about 5,000 linkers now in the world, changing lives of people, making them, giving them back their independence and their agency. And we've got a lot of partners in a team of 13 people. We pay everybody living wage. We measure in the SDGs. We're certified B Corp. We're expanding over the world, and we're just launching the children linkers as well. And that is not just changing lives, that is saving lives. Being part of SheEO is unthinkable to me to not have SheEO in my life anymore. Absolutely unthinkable. The women that I met, the sisters in this whole effort of like, we do this together. We really need to build a new way together, because the old stuff is just not working, not just for women, but also for people of color and people with weird genders and stuff like myself. It's just not working. There's just one mainstream, and if you don't fit, you're quite screwed. Well, let's build something else. And I'm so grateful for what SheEO is, and be part of it is just life-changing. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, B. Applause to you. And if you'd like
4
to learn
seconds
more,
left.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you'd like to learn more, then please take a look at the chat. Caitlin has nicely pasted in however you'd like to follow B on social. Sorry, B, was there something else you were saying? No, okay.
That's perfect. Thanks.
Great. So now that we've heard from a venture also turned activator, we're now going to hear from another activator, Susan. Susan, if you could unmute.
Hi, my name is Susan Namlindwa. I'm proud to say I'm an activator. For me, this started in a weird way last year around this time. That time we were still having in-person meetings. Who did that? Anyway, the only way you found out about SheEO was through live events. And at that time, there was no event scheduled for Ottawa. So I reached out to the team. I said, hey, I want to introduce this to my community and I want to find out more. Can I host an event? I said, yes. So somebody traveled from Toronto to Ottawa to come and attend. I invited my friends and there was 2 activators that came. So in total, we had about 25 people. Out of those 25, 5 of us became activators, and I see one of my other activators on my screen right now. I can see her. Because of the time we activated, we were able to vote, which was pretty cool. Watching all this, I could not. My business was not eligible to apply, so I didn't. But there were 2 applications done that I know of out of the 5 of us that activated. And actually one of them, Nita, went on to be one of the finalists. And every time I see her picture on that ventures, I smile. I'm like, I was there. But anyway, the most important part, well, it's not the most important, but for me, out of the Ask and Give session, one of the activators there offered to introduce me to global affairs based on the business that I am in. She said, I don't have anything to offer, but I can introduce you. Fast forward, out of that introduction that she made, I became, I got introduced from Global Affairs to the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business. If you don't know about this, you should know about it. Anyway, out of that, I got offered the position of vice president for Canada for the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business. Fast forward a year later, last month, we were hosting a summit at the chamber. Government officials from Canada and 55 countries in Africa were on top, and I was speaking to them. And what that has done for my business, there's no way it could have happened outside of that generosity of SheEO. So for me, SheEO embodies everything, and everything that any woman out there should be part of. If you're still sitting on a fence, jump off the fence, jump in the club, and join in the fun. Don't let me preach. I'm not qualified to preach. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Susan. Appreciate that. That was nice and warm, and thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go into breakout groups for an exercise called Ask and Give. This is your opportunity to connect with a smaller group, maybe not so small group, maybe 9 or 10 people, in which you're going to be practicing radical generosity. First, we will have you share and ask, what is it that you need help with? And we ask you to be courageous, be bold, step outside of your comfort zone, because you never know who may be in your room who really wants to give. And then we will ask you to share a give. What is it that you can offer by way of support to all the other participants in your breakout group? Yes, this is a great opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have about activating or applying as a venture. And what we ask is that each group come back to us with a 3-word summary of your conversation and someone to share it in the chat. And with that, I'll turn it to Jessie, who will use the magic of Zoom to send us off into our breakout groups.
Thanks, Melanie. And yeah, just to add to what Vicki just shared in the chat, if you are brand new, this is your first SheEO call, and if you don't feel comfortable or you don't have an ask or give top of mind, no worries at all. Feel free to ask any questions you might be wondering about SheEO, or just take this as an opportunity to meet other radically generous women. So our groups will be quite large today, 8 or 9 people. And we're going to open up the rooms now, and you'll see a link to join your breakout group at the top of your Zoom screen. Thank you so much, and we'll see you back here in 25 minutes.
For participating in the Ask Give, how did that feel? Show me some of your energy, if you can. Okay, great. Thank you. We had a really dynamic group. What I would love to do is to ask each group for your representative to share your 3 words into the chat. And I'm going to count to 3 so we can do this, and maybe we'll read some of them out. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so we have connected, hopeful, grateful, generous, inspiring, uplifting, informative, inspiring, connected, heart, ventures, channels, new, curious, connected, transformative, empowering, fantastical connection, connected, hopeful, grateful. Confidence is that I'm not better than her. It's I'm great and so is she. Connected, curiosity, emerging, exploration. Generous, discovery, collaboration, supportive, genius, hope, pioneering, uplifting, opportunity. Too short. Okay, diverse. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. I'm now going to turn it over to Suzanne, who is the founder of SheEO Venture Higher Ed Points, and she's going to make an ask.
Hi, thank you so much to my group. That was a fun discussion, and I am a venture. Higher Ed Points is my venture. We let people use loyalty points to pay for tuition at university and college, and I've been an activator ever since I became a venture. And I have to say, between the being a venture, which is wonderful, and the being an activator, the gifts from the activator community have continued from day one. Every time I meet an activator, we have a fabulous interaction, and it always begins with, how can I help you? I was on the phone with a woman this week. I was introduced by somebody else, and she started the conversation, and she said, I want to hear your business. I said, no, I want to tell. She's exactly the type of person that will enjoy the community. So if you're on the fence about whether to become an activator, financially, it's really easy now with the $92 a month as opposed to having to commit the full $1,100, but it will pay back in spades because the connection you'll get from being an activator is number one, but then networking with people who can help you achieve your objectives faster is what I found really helps a lot of the other activators and the other ventures. And my give is I love talking about other people's businesses. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, Suzanne@higheredpoints.com, I love just brainstorming about ideas. So if you can activate now, I strongly encourage you to do that. You can get into this round of venture voting and then make it for the final round of voting as well. So thank you for letting me chat. And I can't say enough about the gifts that you get from being an activator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Jessie.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Melanie. Just in our final time together here, wanted to share a little bit of information about next steps. So the first is I'm going to launch a poll. We'd love to hear if you are interested in getting more involved with SheEO. A special welcome to everyone who's joining a SheEO event for your first time. So you'll see a poll now that we've launched in Zoom. First question is, how would you like to participate? Are you interested in becoming an activator, applying as a venture for our next cycle, which will be fall 2021, or reactivating? The second question is, did you meet women you would like to keep in touch with after your group today? Please note on that note that you can save the chat. So if you go into the chat and click on the white button with 3 dots, you can save the chat and all of the information that was shared within your breakout group and beyond. And our third question is for guests who are joining perhaps for the first time and may have questions about activating. Let us know if you'd like to connect one-on-one with an existing activator for a virtual chat, and we would love to help that set that up for you. So the one other thing I'd like to share is for those who are interested in activating, here's what it looks like when you sign up. So the URL, Caitlin's going to add it to the chat, is community.sheeo.world/sign up. And when you go to sign up, you will see the SheEO Credo, which really embodies what our community is all about. You can see right here, if you need something, ask. If you have something to give, please offer it, something we already practiced on our call today. And then you'll just enter your name and your email and how you heard about SheEO. From there, you will receive an email in your inbox to verify that it's you. And just click on the link in that email to then complete your activator profile, and then select one of 3 activator contribution options. One is monthly payments of $92 or £71 per month if you're in the UK. The second is one-time £1,100 or £850, or you can sign up for annual auto renewal. And as a reminder, as Vicky mentioned earlier on the call, 90% of your contribution goes directly to help fund the next SheEO ventures, incredible innovators like Suzanne and Bea that we heard from today. And 10% goes to the activator experience. And when you sign up, you immediately gain access to our incredible global community. We have an online platform with a searchable directory that you can use to find and search for thousands of radically generous women around the world. We have weekly activator calls like today's call, but with different content every week. Often a focus is asking for help and sharing our support with each other. And as Suzanne mentioned, voting, the first round of voting to select the SheEO Ventures, the next round, is happening now through November 17th. So if you're considering activating, this is the perfect time to do so, because as soon as you sign up, you'll get to start reviewing applications and helping decide with the community which applicants should go on to become our venture semifinalists. It's a really inspiring process. We've already received a lot of positive feedback about how rewarding this experience has been voting since we launched on Friday. So definitely consider it. One final note that I want to share is that when it comes to becoming an activator, your participation is completely on your own terms. So we have some women who like to contribute money to the fund every year, but may not have time to get more involved beyond that. And that is totally fine and welcome here. It's on your own terms. You can be as involved as you like. Simply by contributing to the perpetual fund, you will make a huge impact on the SheEO Ventures like Bea and like Suzanne. So two last things here. We'd love to hear your feedback on today's event. Collecting feedback is really important to us here at SheEO. We do it after every single call and touch point. So Caitlin's going to join, share a link in the chat for the feedback form. And last but not least, we'd love to take a group photo with you all. So if this is your first time joining, we take a group photo and we share it on social media to share with the rest of the world what our experience was like on the call today. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to go full screen here. And so we have 5 screens. We'd love for you to share a gesture with how you're feeling in this moment, how Ask and Give has you feeling, how energizing it is to be with hundreds of radically generous women. We're going to do 5 screenshots here. So this is the first screen. 1, 2, 3. Our second screen, Judy, Erica, Julie, Kelly. 1, 2, 3. Our third screen, thumbs up from Katie and a heart, love that. 1, 2, 3. And our fourth screen, we'd love to see your poses. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you so much. Passing it back to you, Melanie.
And where you can find that, Jessie will be posting that picture on LinkedIn, and take a look at hashtag SheEO Magic for our past photos. And we encourage you to tag anyone that you think you might be interested in participating in this kind of an experience, whether it's at a global activation event or applying to become a venture, applying to become an activator. We'd really welcome your energy and we welcome everyone to share it. So thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for making it a special experience, a life-changing experience to join SheEO, and the invitation is yours. Thank you to everyone for joining. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to the organizers. Bye.
Thank you so much.